Please video like and subscribe this channel. The grand hall of the Celestine court shimmered like a living jewel. Light refracted off the crystalline walls, casting fractal patterns across the polished obsidian floor. Music swirled in delicate, unearthly tones, an alien orchestra, its instruments pulsating with energy I could feel in my bones. I had never been anywhere like this. Not on Earth, not even in the military academies I had trained in for years. And yet, here I was, standing in the middle of a ballroom filled with beings whose forms seemed to defy physics and art in equal measure. Tentacles of bioluminescent flesh, wings translucent as sunlight, eyes that shimmered like twin moons, all moving gracefully across the floor. I had come on a mission. Not officially, of course. This was a diplomatic reception meant for observation. But my curiosity had gotten the better of me. And when I spotted her, a woman among the crowd, her skin pale like moonlight, her eyes impossibly crimson, and her hair flowing like liquid obsidian, I did something reckless. I walked up to her. "Would you care to dance?" I asked, my voice betraying the nervousness I refused to acknowledge. The room seemed to pause. Conversations hushed. Even the music softened for a heartbeat. And then she smiled, a slow, deliberate, knowing smile that sent a chill down my spine. "I would be delighted," she said. Her voice was honey and smoke, and it wrapped around me, disorienting and intoxicating all at once. We moved to the center of the floor. The dance began gently at first, almost casual, as though two strangers were testing the waters. But there was a rhythm between us that felt ancient, predestined. I felt her strength through every subtle movement, her awareness of the room and the court pressing down, but tempered by something, patient, deliberate. I had danced with many partners before, both human and alien, but none had this presence. None had made me feel as though every step mattered, every motion was scrutinized by invisible eyes. "Your name?" I asked, trying to anchor myself in something mundane. "Calith," she replied. "And you?" "Ethan," I said. Her crimson eyes glimmered as if she had heard a secret embedded in my name itself. As the dance continued, I felt her gaze wander down my arms, lingering on my back, my posture, the way my spine flexed with every turn. A strange tingle ran along my nerves. I had no idea what she was looking for, but the intensity was unnerving. And then she said something that made me freeze mid-step. "Your lineage is remarkable." I laughed nervously. "I'm just a human soldier." "That's hardly remarkable." Her smile widened. "Ah, but blood remembers. And your blood speaks louder than you realize." Before I could respond, the music shifted. It became slower, darker, a minor melody that wrapped around us like smoke. Calith's eyes glowed brighter, her skin seeming almost translucent under the ballroom lights. I realized then, with a sickening certainty, that she wasn't just any alien noblewoman. Something about her, her posture, her aura, the way the room bent subtly around her presence, screamed authority. And then, a glimpse of fangs. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough. Enough to make my blood run cold. You're, I began. "The vampirequeen," she said, finishing my thought with a tone that was neither boast nor apology. I did not intend to reveal myself so soon. "But you compelled my curiosity." The ballroom seemed to shiver. Conversations died entirely. All eyes, human and alien alike, turned to us. The music stopped. Even the orchestra instruments hung suspended mid-note. I took a half-step back, but she moved with me, guiding, controlling, commanding. "Do not be afraid," she said. "I am not here to harm you, unless you force me to." Her words were not comforting. They were a declaration. I didn't know," I stammered. "I thought you were just another guest." "I am more than a guest," Calith said, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried across the hall. I am the ruler of this court, of my people, of centuries you cannot begin to imagine. A hush fell over the audience. Noble aliens shifted uneasily. Some bowed instinctively. Others stepped back, wary. The power in her presence was overwhelming. And yet, she continued, you dared to invite me to dance. That is bold. I swallowed. My military training, my instincts honed over years of combat and negotiation, were suddenly useless. I was a human soldier in a court of immortals, standing before a being whose lifespan exceeded mine by centuries, whose power dwarfed anything I had encountered in the galaxy. But there was something else in her eyes, curiosity, amusement. A spark that suggested she had not expected defiance, not expected courage, not expected me. You intrigue me, human Ethan, Caliph said. Few can approach me so, openly. Fewer still survive the encounter without begging for mercy. I clenched my jaw, refusing to step away. I don't beg. And I don't flinch. Her smile widened into something predatory and amused. Ah, but there is the danger. The danger excites me. The ballroom began to stir again, whispers rolling like distant thunder. Other nobles were murmuring about ancient treaties, the risks of allowing a human to survive such close proximity to their queen, the omens such an encounter might herald. Calitha's gaze returned to me. There is a tradition, she said, circling me with predatory grace. A human who dances with the vampirequeen may be marked, may be changed. Will you accept that risk? I stared at her, chest tightening. I don't know what you mean. She paused behind me, letting her fingers brush lightly across my shoulder. It was cold, electric. Blood remembers, Ethan. You may yet feel it. And then, in a moment that seemed suspended in time, she pressed her forehead to mine. I felt her essence, not just her body, but her history, her power, her centuries of memory flow into me, brushing against my mind like a whisper of a hurricane. I staggered back slightly, gasping. You are alive, she murmured. And that is surprising. Most would crumble under such contact. Most would fear and flee. You do not. I'm not most humans, I said, my voice shaking slightly, though my resolve hardened. Caliph stepped back, giving me space but never letting her gaze waver. Very well. Then you may remain in my presence. For now. But know this, the dance was only the beginning. The room will remember, the court will remember, and so shall you. What happens next? I asked. You survive the dance, she said, and in doing so, you have gained my attention. That is a dangerous gift. The music began again, but it was different now, slower, darker, more deliberate. Caliph extended her hand. Dance with me, human, if you dare. But do not forget, every step is a choice. Every movement, a declaration. I took her hand, feeling the cool strength in her grip. The room faded away. Time seemed to bend around us, focused entirely on the rhythm of our bodies, the tension of our connection, the undeniable presence of a being who could destroy or save me with a thought. I had faced enemies, warlords, alien mercenaries, and the void itself. None had ever made me feel so small, or so alive. When the dance ended, Calitha's eyes glimmered like rubies catching the first light of a distant star. You have survived the first test, she said softly. There are many more ahead, human Ethan. Many more. I nodded, unsure whether I was terrified or exhilarated, or both. And one day, she added, her fangs just visible in the corner of her smile, you may even understand why the vampire queen dances alone, until she finds someone who dares to keep pace. The court erupted in applause, but I barely noticed. The mark of the vampire queen, her presence, her essence, lingered on me. I felt it coursing through the edges of my awareness, whispering promises of power, danger, and the unknown. I had invited her to dance on a whim. I had discovered she was the vampire queen. And in doing so, I had stepped into a world far larger and far more dangerous than I could have ever imagined. The night had changed everything. And I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that my life would never be the same again.